Well, I mean, I was in the data industry before you could even buy data. I mean, back in the early days, you had to create it all yourself. And so through the process of creating it, I started to realize how many different incredibly useful types of data there were. A handful of those types of data got monetized, turned into companies, but there still remained so much data that it was a lot harder for folks to find. This was, it's been about 10 years now, but started to see everyone else get interested in data, and they were all ending up with the exact same data. And Wall Street is all about having differentiation, having an edge. Only buying the same thing everyone else is buying doesn't create advantage. And so we wanted a way where an analyst could be smarter than another analyst, could work harder and produce a different outcome. And through the process of doing that, we realized that where people were really struggling was they didn't even know what data to go out there and get, what data to buy, what data to create or scrape or what have you. And so, we saw the problem was earlier in the process than where Adaptive sat. And so the original idea behind starting Nomad was we wanted to get closer to where the actual problem was, which was, okay, I'm looking at this company, I'm looking at this market. I need a better view on this thing. Where do I even go? One person, had the challenge that they basically asked someone else to go source data to solve. That person scoured the web, scoured lists to find some people to talk to. Someone else did the talking. Someone else did the contract. Someone else did the testing. And so it was very disconnected, and any one person had no idea where the data was in the purchase process. What test had we run? Why did we buy it? Why did we not buy it? Who's using it? What license do we have? It would help folks within the firm. Let's say you buy 100 data sets. You have the same discovery problem internally. What data set does this? How can I find data on that? And so the DRM, eventually we added AI features where anyone at the company, it's almost like a talking data catalog. You can ask it, what data do we have on daily oil fluctuations, or output volumes, from XYZ country. And it would go through and see, well, you talked to this vendor on this date, you purchased that data set, and it would answer all those questions for you, which was incredibly useful. And it was a way to sort of contain all that knowledge.
Does the DRM become more or less important in that world? It sounds like it's much more. Does the operational complexity of managing data relationships go up, or does AI start to absorb some of it?
Well, I think in certain use cases, the need for data is going to go up, but also the licensing model for data is going to have to change. Well, I mean, the most nightmarish is the data itself becomes corrupt. I mean, that's the worst case. You're making, key decisions on data, and all of a sudden something goes wrong with the data vendor, or something had gone wrong whenever the data was created, and it's just wrong. And, you make a big decision based on that data. That's the ultimate fear. With any decision based on information that you didn't gather yourself, or you didn't, even when you do it yourself, you can make mistakes. And so is that if you institutionalize any process, if you build process, you're going to have a better outcome, whether it's in data acquisition, whether it's, researching potential investments. That is so key is, when you reach a certain point, you have to formalize a process. You have to have a process, or whatever initiative you're working on is not going to be successful over the long run.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to do things over and over and over again until you build that process, right?